we're back to discuss The Last Witch Hunter. If you saw our review, it was kind of a middle of the road thing. Some things it does well, some things it doesn't. I thought, Vin Diesel's charisma works for him in this movie. They really play to his strengths as a leading man and all that kind of thing. When he has to do like a sword melee action scene, he can't. At the beginning of the movie, what they do is what you were talking about, Matt, where they're just like, they just do a bunch of chops in the, they shake the camera around and chop things around to make it look like there's action going on.
Felt like Taken.
And by the end, yeah, it feels like Taken 3. Mm-hmm. And by the end, they're not even hiding it anymore. He's just like standing there with the sword. And they keep cutting back to him and just standing still with the sword saying things. And then he literally just throws it. And that's the end. It's the stupidest thing. He's just like, I'm going to wait till it's time to throw the sword. No, wait, the effects are still pretty cool. All right. Fire and fire. Shit, we forgot to set the sword on fire. Oh, well, it worked anyway.
What were your problems with the first scene?
It was so dark. Like, it was underlit so bad that I could not see what was going on. Mm-hmm. And I had that problem probably for the first act of the movie. It was worst. The worst part of it was in the very beginning, that opening scene where they're like in the caves trying to fight the witches or whatever. You can't tell what's going on. There's a narrator talking over the top of everything, explaining things to you. Nothing he's explaining is connecting to what you're looking at. Nothing that you're looking at makes any sense. And then when it finally does get to like the city, there's still scenes where, like when they go to the council or whatever and talk to them, like it almost felt like the movie was out of focus. And I don't know if that's... Like, anytime the camera, like, sort of panned or moved, to me, it felt like it threw it out of focus. Like, they were doing a really terrible, like, motion blur digital zoom kind of thing. Mm. But that could just have been, I wouldn't say that was definitively something that was wrong with the movie. It might have just been something that was wrong with our, copy or our projection. And then... So yeah, I mean that's what I had a real problem at the beginning, and then as far as the plot, he kills the witch, and the witch, like, her dying breath is "I curse you with immortality," and I was just like, what? You have the power to make someone immortal, and you make him immortal? Why don't you make yourself immortal?
Right.
Like right now.
Right.
Like, what the hell? Just do it.
Well, that's one of the many things that didn't really make sense. Like how she died as well. Why would she stick around to be killed by a sword?
But until later, and then they explain that, like, well, she's not really dead, and she was
using him to get, yeah.
And that made a lot more sense once they explained that, but then you're like, okay, so then his decision at the end to just like, well, now he's going to keep the heart and keep fighting the witches because there's worse things than her out there. So he's just going to hang on to the heart and that...
You can't really overthink this.
And, like, all of that happens in, like, it goes from he's going to kill her, he throws the sword, the stupid, like, stands forever, and then he finally throws the sword.
That was amazing,
and then
by the way.
Ygritte from Game of Thrones just walks over to him and she's like, you'll die if you do that. It's like, yeah, I know. We've established that. I'm gonna die. She's like, well, if you don't do it, you won't die. And he's like, you have a point. And then she says,
this is pretty much exactly how it went down.
And then she says, and I'll stay with you.
You won't be alone.
And he's like, yeah, you won't be alone. And he's like...
Which is the one word she thought about him.
He's like, well, I mean, I guess it's possible that you'd be the first person to live forever with me and won't, like, die in a lifetime. Or maybe I'll stab the heart when you die or, something like that. And then it just abruptly cuts away. Yeah. Like, that's just the end of the scene. And they, like... do this, like...
Was that when they cut away to
Michael Caine? Yeah.
Bruce Wayne did it. I mean,
yeah. But I can't bury any more Batman.
it was kind of it's kind of weird that he spends 50 years getting to know a guy and calls him kid, and he can meet this girl and in less than a week he's like, hey, let's just be together forever. It's great. Run off, guys.
As you do.
As you do.
I trust you.
A lot of trust built.
You know when she was gonna go into his mind and do the Dreamwalker thing, and he was like, think of me and think of one word about me. I was sure she was gonna say monotone.
Oh.
At the end, what the thing that leapt out at me was she had taken away his immortality, or had taken it back, as it were. Mm-hmm. And then when he throws the sword at her, not stabs her, throws the sword at her, does she curse him again?
Well, that's not really clear. Like, I don't think he ever really lost, like, I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Because he also says, with iron and fire, which is what he said at the beginning, because he set the sword on fire and stabbed her with it. When he throws the sword, he also says with iron and fire, there is no fire.
There's lightning.
There is no fire.
Well, the fire's in the crazy weather that was created, right?
Let's
go with this.
I was looking for it.
Crazy weather
I didn't see it.
Crazy weather looked like straight out of Ghostbusters right
Like,
there.
yeah,
I think we all made that
totally
reference.
They made plenty of... They used the effect plenty of times.
The coven where all the ghosts are stored. It's going to be released on the world.
There were plenty of times where they had the flaming sword effect going. Mm-hmm. They just sort of forgot it at the end.
Uh-huh. Yeah. It wasn't flaming.
Iron and fire.
So, and every time they meet a point in this plot that things are dire, something's taken away from them, they have a very convenient, right there in their face, way around it. The memory thing. Oh, wait, no, you don't need the memory potion. She's a dream walker.
Yeah, that was convenient. After half an hour of searching for a memory
so
potion.
damn convenient.
What about the first time they introduce Elijah Wood's character? Like
He's just like, hi, I'm evil Frodo.
He's like, here, have this tea that is completely not poison. and then he looks at the tea all shady, like... It was so telegraphed from the beginning that he was going to be a bad guy.
Well, I didn't get that. I don't know.
I just thought it was an interesting choice of cast. Like, how did they get him in here? That's the only thing I was thinking the entire time.
Well, Michael Caine obviously owes all kinds of debt.
Oh,
and that's what he's trying to pay off. But I don't know what Wood's doing. Gosh.
The Last Witch Hunter.
Oh, wow.
The last witch hunter.
Perhaps there will be another Last Witch Hunter. It'll be like the Final Fantasy series.
Now there's two.
They could just keep breaking down the budget for it and make it more and more direct to DVD. Vin Diesel's game for this.
I'd watch it.
Last Witch Hunter 2, but like TOO.
No.
No,
And then
it has
Electric Boogaloo.
It has to be 2 Witch, 2 Hunter, Tokyo Drift.
Wow.
All right. I think we've discussed enough of this. If you like the way we do these, please like the video, subscribe, check out all the written and video reviews at dalemaxfield.com, and thanks for watching.